Good morning. I'm the Mad Monk. This is Mad Monk TV, right? Because I'm helping to tell a vision of what I'd like to share with you. And so today, we're just going to be working on this little section of the garden here. And in this little section of the garden here, it's mostly natural. It's what was here when I came here in the desert. And a lot of the area around it has been shifted into what I want here. But those were big, healthy sagebrush plants. And instead of ripping them out of the ground and just decimating everything that I touch, I've found that I like having those plants here. I like the way they smell. Like I'll take the trimmings off of them, and I will I'll burn them like in a shell or in like a little metal bucket, and it smells good. It's better than incense. So I could go buy incense from eBay or Amazon or from a local store, and it has whatever chemicals that manufacturer puts in them to make them smell a certain way. Or I can just take it right off this plant, and when I catch it on fire, it smells the way I like it to smell. It smells clean. It smells like I don't know. I mean, I like it. So I participate in the things that I like to do, and so anyway, I'm gonna just start gathering some of this, and I'm gonna try to level this all up just about as good as my goats used to. But the goats work from the bottom up, and for me, it's gonna work better if I work from the top down, because I'm trying to make this look like a certain type of landscape. I want it to look like it's been tended to. And it's a good workout too, because like right now, I'm in a squat. And if I get tired of being in a squat like this, so let's call this garden yoga, right? And in garden yoga, we're gonna feel the burn, and but we're also gonna see benefits in what we're doing around us, right? Because that's what life should be about, right? I mean, we are um, built in the image of the Creator, right? And if we're not creating things, what are we doing? If we're just consuming things, maybe that kind of life wouldn't work out as well for us. I mean, maybe that would promote feeling like we're in slavery or something like that. So, and I mainly just want the small stuff in this bucket. So I'm stretching one way. It's I can feel the pressure in my back, because you're taking your weight, body weight resistance, and you're moving it away from your center. And then when it gets to be that you're feeling too much, you know, you just stand up and you balance yourself, and you recreate your center where it's easiest to live, right? Because if you're centered and balanced, it doesn't really take much effort. I can stand here with very little effort because my bones are all in alignment, and gravity is just kind of holding me right here, right? So, but when we explore, be out of our center, when we explore polarities of options, I mean, like if I go up as high as I can, I can reach a lot higher than I could when I was just in my center. And I'm all the way up on my toes. And so then, um, but you can't go that all that way that far that long, right? I mean, you're gonna get tired. So then you're gonna come back to your center, and then you could see how low you could go. And I think I'm gonna go right out of the screen. But anyway, I'm down here pretty low and scratching the cat. So then I come back up because we don't want to be in a low too long, right? Anyway, yeah. So that's what we're that's what we're exploring today. We're exploring the abilities of how we can interact in our environment to create change that we desire. What are some ways that you can engage in your environment to create things that you desire? Can you volunteer in things that you want to see being done? That's the way they get done. You know, I mean, that's volunteers basically are what do a lot of the work around here. You know, when I was helping homeless teens, there were paid positions at the center, but those people didn't do nearly as much as what the volunteers actually ended up doing. You know, they were playing ping pong, or they were watching. You know, they're playing on their phones, and you know, they're just waiting for their next paycheck to come. But the volunteers are the ones that they're willing to donate their time to help others, and so they're actually doing something that helps others. You know, the people in the paid positions, I think their intentions were noble and benevolent, but when you get around people that have been in there for 10 or 20 years and they're trying to get a pension, and you start showing them up, or you start doing more than what they've done, um, they might tell you to slow down a little bit. You know, especially when there's unions involved, because let me tell you, a union plumber doesn't work nearly as fast as as a uh, a non-union plumber, right? I mean, because a non-union plumber can be fired like that. You know, it's like, where's your tools? Why aren't you working? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, you're fired. You're gone. You know, I mean, the union worker, he has to basically, well, you get a crap in the boss's lunchbox to be able to get fired. You know, because that'll get you there. But inefficiency or non-accountability, that won't usually get you fired. Firefighter helicopters. Yeah, and so like so somebody who's being paid to help somebody else, they there might be um, inclination to keep a person dependent, because then it keeps a justification for your job, right? So like I was helping homeless youth here in town, and or I thought I was. I was actually helping the corporation that is getting paid to help homeless youth more, I guess. Um, but anyway, yeah. So then I got a cat now. I'm not just distracted by dirt. This little guy was scratching up my leg. So um, anyway, I mean, like there was a clothes room, right? That we had lots of clothes that people from the community had donated. I mean, lots. And I mean, let me tell you, when the community is asked to bring clothes, it comes by the truckloads. I mean, people are so giving. People want to help so much, and so all of these clothes will come in, and because it's a nonprofit corporation, what happens is, the volunteer says, "Oh, you got to count those clothes." Oh, okay. So we count all the clothes, and you say, "Okay, we've got 118 pairs of jeans. We've got 17 pairs of boots. We've got 10 pairs of shoes. We've got 178 socks. We've got 74 t-shirts, and we have 18 coats." Right? So then the volunteer carries that stuff up to the area to where it gets stored, and then it gets all stored away in closets and on racks. Which I went up there a while ago, and they've reduced those options down to just a couple of racks. Even though there's so much gifting from the community, there's only a couple of racks available to choose from for homeless teens, right, and kids. Um, and when I was helping them, one of the counselors in particular, I won't mention any names, and I won't even mention the corporation that I was doing it, because I don't think they're doing what's right. But that's for you guys to decide. Um, so a teen would come in and say, "All right, well, hey, I need some socks, and or I need some long underwear, something to keep warm, or do you have a sleeping bag?" I mean, they were asking for legitimate things. Toothpaste, toothbrush, floss, deodorant. I mean, we had all these things available, and so I mean, I would take care of people. I would say, "All right, yeah, well, here's a couple pair of jeans, and oh, here's like 4 pairs of socks, and here's a toothbrush, and here's some toothpaste, and here, I mean, I'm giving them out the things that they need." And then this counselor, she comes to me and says, "Hey, don't be giving them so much stuff." I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, we have we have a lot of it. And I counted it coming in, and I mean, it just keeps coming, and I said, we're having to donate it back out. And so we're having to count it again and do that. I'm like, let's give it to the people who actually need it. She says, "I told you, only give them one pair of socks, only give them one pair of jeans, only give them one shirt, only give them the basic bare necessities of what they need." And I'm like, "But why?" I'm like, "We have a whole closet full of socks. I mean, there must be 600 of them in there." She says, "I told you, one pair of socks, one pair minimums, okay?" She's like, "You don't know what's going on here. I do." And I'm like, "Oh, all right, because you've worked here longer, you must know." But I'm not good at listening at things that don't make sense. So everybody that came in, I still got a couple pairs of socks and whatever they needed. I'd like, just be quiet. I got to help you secretly, because they want you to keep signing in every day, showing that how important this building is, in which it is. Resources like that are very important. Local zones that things can be donated, and places for people to be able to gather the things that they need. This community gives so much, but you'd be surprised at how much of your donations end up not being used by the organization that you intended them for, or even a secondary organization that you intended them for, because we would take truckloads of things that we didn't think would be good for the kids to the mission, and then they would sort through them. So they're counting them, or maybe they weigh them. I don't know, but I mean, there should be more efficient ways of monitoring what's happening. And then so they would give away what they could, but anything that they didn't think was good, well, then it gets bundled up, and there's brokers. I mean, I've been watching documentaries for years. I mean, I don't watch something that television programs you for. I look for what I want to. What kind of knowledge or what kind of experience I want. And India, if you see pictures of India, you say, "Oh my God, what a shithole!" Because in the cities and around the surrounding areas, there's just clothes thrown everywhere, and there's plastic bottles, and there's just everything that America was throwing away gets sold to brokers in India to use as textiles. But then when they don't want them, then they just throw them. What are they going to do with them? They can't. Um, they can't handle a developed nation's trash on a on their budget, right? Because they can't, but we're placing that burden on them, and it's all the things that people wanted to get rid of. They wanted to donate, and they wanted somebody to find it usefulness, but because it doesn't find a usefulness, it ends up as trash. I mean, and there's ways to use everything locally. We don't have to be shipping, boxes of crappy clothing to the other side of the planet. You know, so anyway, so enough about that. But yeah, so volunteers, people that are actually doing something in the world, are what take care of problems. And having the ability to work together voluntarily is really a powerful way for us to work as humanity. Plus, this is like my barber training, because just thinking about being a barber someday. Not really. But did you know it takes more training to become a barber than it does to become a police officer? That's kind of crazy, right? Look it up. See how long. I mean, we're in the information age. If I ever say something that you're like, whatever, that doesn't sound right, look it up. And if I'm wrong, enlighten me. Let me know. Say, hey, you were wrong about this. And there's a good chance that I'm going to say thank you, because I don't want to be wrong. And if we're talking about something, it's not that I'm trying to be right. I just want to find out what's right. And the only way we can find out what's right is if we talk to each other. And we share our experiences. Because you know things that I don't. Just like I might know some things that you don't. Right? Anyway, this is looking a little bit better, because I'm doing something. I mean, I could look at it and say, man, those should be a little bit more level. if it's going to look like it's a manicured, tended section of a piece of property. Look at all that pollen coming off there. Yeah, that's some good pollen. Take a whiff of that, huh? Oh. Anyway, that's when I talk about what volunteers are doing today. So if you want to come out and volunteer sometime, there are a lot of opportunities here to make the world a little bit better, one spot at a time. We can talk about topics that really actually mean something, because a lot of what I see happening is wow, that was a good one. Um, a lot of what I see happening is a lot of attention going to things that don't matter, or they're going to the things that aren't efficiently being tended to. I mean, if we used efficiency and accountability and transparency and all that we do, we're going to find an experience of life that is something that we haven't seen, not in our lifetime, right? Not within the last 100 years have we really seen efficiency, accountability, and transparency. And in the information age where we live right now, that is possible. And wow, that could be like a chemical weapon. Just shoot a bunch of pollen at somebody and they'll just be incapacitated, sneezing. Non-lethal but effective means of incapacitating somebody. Anyway, in the information age, we have the ability of sharing knowledge globally. We can share knowledge, and then we can use these devices, like what you're watching this on right now, to communicate locally and build groups and build little, um, build groups of people that want to achieve a certain result, right? And today, I just wanted to, get some of these kind of leveled off, and you know, and talk to you for a minute. But there's so many more opportunities in what we do to make a better world for tomorrow. And I don't know about you, but I mean, I have a daughter, and I also have a granddaughter, and eventually my granddaughter will have a granddaughter. I mean, we're looking down the road a little ways. I might be long and gone by that time. But when my granddaughter has a granddaughter, I want the actions that we do now to create a better world for them. And maybe not one where everything is done for them. I mean, I want them to recognize their abilities of uh, of creating good things. But if we keep trying to control each other through the use of governments and laws and regulations, well, the only people following the laws and regulations are those that are people you really wouldn't have to worry about anyway. Don't hit, don't steal. Most people pretty much get that by the age of 4 or 5, because if they hit, sometimes they get hit back, right? And they're like, oh shit, that's that's like a rebound, right? Angle of incidence equals angle of reflection. If I hit you, you might hit me back. I mean, that's what second day of kindergarten. I mean, I taught this little kid that was trying to be a bully about that. I mean, he kept on bothering me, and so I flattened his nose, and then he stopped, and he was like, oh hey, and we never had a problem again. I mean, he was cool. I mean, I think he's a nice guy now. I don't know him. We moved away, but I mean, um, it's us learning from our environment in a natural way. I mean, if somebody never explores something that isn't good, or decided by society to be good, they won't recognize how nice it is to not do that, right? Because something is looked at as bad because it causes harm to somebody else, right? And I've caused harm to other people, and in that time, I I wasn't experiencing a happy life, right? And so, I mean, we have to really engage ourselves in life to be able to experience it. And natural laws of cause and effect are being prevented by man's law. We have a divine design that works flawlessly. I mean, I knew when I was a child that if I was doing something against somebody else, then I would be reprimanded, I would be incarcerated, I would be talked to in a way that let me know what I was doing isn't acceptable. Wow. Yeah. See that pollen will cause your nose to run too. So anyway. So anyway, yeah. Let's build a world that we want to hand off to our children rather than a dystopian future that they like what they show in Hollywood on television programming to the masses, right? Let's get away from paying attention to what somebody somewhere else says. Even me, I mean, if what I've said doesn't make any sense to you, you can hit that little right up there. I think it's either that side or that side. I don't know. It's mirror image on this, and then whatever it uploads as to YouTube. But there's a little X up in the corner. You can just hit that, and I'm gone, right? And that's the way it should be with everybody. Because if somebody is suggesting war, if somebody is suggesting control over somebody else who hasn't harmed somebody, we should just say, no, I don't think so. We shouldn't do that. I'm not going to support it. And if everybody didn't support what they don't believe in, a lot of the things that we don't believe in that we wouldn't support wouldn't be supported. Thanks. Have a good day.